Bueno, tras esta magnífica actuación de los alumnos de Jaso y Castola, vamos a pasar a la última conferencia que la va a realizar la doctora Mirjamaija Mikkilä-Erdmann. Mirjamaija trabaja en la Facultad de Educación de la Universidad de Turku, en Finlandia, en el Departamento de Formación del Profesorado. Es experta en la utilización de nuevas tecnologías en el aprendizaje, pedagogía, educación médica, educación científica, cambio conceptual, aprendizaje en línea y comprensión de textos.
Can you activate?
Yeah, it's activated, I think.
Dear colleagues, actually I would like to have started with thank you for the music, because I think that's the only international language between us humans, and I really enjoyed the performance done by the local children. But actually I want to start with saying thank you for Iruñea and the whole team, that we have the possibility to be here in your local, I mean us as a Keycolab partners, Erasmus project, and the film colleagues are sitting there also, and it has been a pleasure to see this passion for education in Navarra and in Pamplona, that you really bring people together. And that's of course the main point why we are now here. And okay, never mind. That's always the second international problem, technology, but never mind. Okay, I have three goals in this short presentation. First, I want to do some framing, some framing, telling what's the best Finnish system, and try to explain a little bit why do we have this kind of system like we have now. We have been experiencing a very huge curriculum development process. Here's a book. If you can download it in the internet. That's a core curriculum of Finnish basic education, 9 years education. That's the guidelines now in English. And you can see it's a tough book. I've not been able to read it now, not yet, but I've been following the process, because it's actually a very interesting product. It's a product which has been made based on collaboration between scholars, teachers, governors, parents, parental associations have been also taking part in the whole process. It had took several years, and now it's there. Actually, my first slide is about Finland. We are a very small country, 5.5 million people. And we have, most of us are Finnish, but we also have Swedish minority, then we have Samish minority, and all these minorities have the same rights than Finnish people to study in their language, the whole school, 9 years schoolings, and after that even in the universities. You may know, if I ask you, what do you know about Finland? That we are performing quite well in PISA. Okay, that's almost, it's a fact. But what is actually more important is that if we look, if we make more analysis based on PISA results, there is, for example, the possibility to compare results, let's say take 2015 science performance, and then we compare our performance with equity, with the factor equity. We see actually another pattern coming up. For example, our competitors like Singapore, very high performing. It's in the place where there is very high performance but low equity. But Finland is on the slot where it's high performance and high equity. That's first thing which I want to emphasize. We have always take care for these two aspects if we are considering the school system.
Yeah.
Then, our basic education, 9 years, is non-selective. The objective of basic education is to support pupils' growth towards humanity and ethically responsible membership of the society, and to provide them with the knowledge and skills needed in life. We are actually considering that our children, when they are studying now, they will be employed for 40 years onwards. How is the future? What is the future then? We don't know. But we try to give them the generous skills that they can cope with this very, very rapidly changing world, like we were hearing today morning with a work from the UNESCO, from our colleague there. But that's actually writing curricula today is like writing science fiction. We don't know what's going on, but we try to work research-based and try to find that there are some very important skills what our children, our young people have to learn before they leave the 9 years, the basic 9 years of school. Our curriculum, actually, the curriculum system is so that all schools follow the guidelines of the national curriculum, which includes the objectives and core contents of different disciplines and the competencies which we are dealing today. But the education providers, the municipals and the local schools, operationalize the curriculum on their level. There are actually 3 levels curricula in Finland. Then some other key issues about the sort of socio-cultural facts about Finnish education. It's very important that we want to give equal learning opportunities for all regardless of the child's gender, socioeconomic status, linguistic or cultural background, or domicile. And if you analyze the PISA results, we can see that the differences between towns in Finland in PISA results, between different areas in towns, or between different schools are very, very small. That there are hardly any differences. That it seems to be that our system makes sort of, on average, a good quality. That there are not these differences taking place. And what is also interesting in our system that pupils are given fewer lesson hours compared to other countries, which are very high. That means that good learning outcomes are achieved just with average lessons, that is average expensive. That our system seems to work with less money than compared to other high-performing countries. And then if we think what is the role of students, we can see that the students are very much sort of activated to work in teams, to be a sort of a novice partner for the teacher. That means that the kind of collaboration is taking place on a school level, but also on a class level. And we think that the one target is to build up a learning community, where also teachers are learning. Teachers are not only making transmission of knowledge, but they have to learn on themselves. They have also be active learners in the interaction. And then, like I already mentioned, Finnish system is very non-selective. That means also that we don't have any tests, any national test, obligatory tests during the first 9 years. That means that there is a huge autonomy for a teacher to decide what to do or what not to do. There are, of course, national tests also which they can take part in, but it's not obligatory. And that means that because of that, according to Finnish school laws, a teacher has a huge autonomy to do what he or she wants in the classroom, according to the guidelines of our curriculum. That's only guidelines. That means that there has to be a very high competence, teacher competence. because he or she has to have rational explanations behind the didactic decisions. If, for example, I decide not to take textbooks in my language instruction, it's up to me. But if the parents are coming and asking, why don't any textbooks, then I have to have rational explanations, pedagogical explanations. And that means that at the end I can say a few words how we teach our teachers, because that of course has to be in line with the whole system. But we can't look isolating different parts of our education system. We have to first start with the framing about our culture, then we have to come to the local differences and also take into account the teacher and teacher competences. Okay, and then we go to this competence theme, and like Iruñea was already telling that we had this European project, and we tried to do some work in the schools, like we were observing today here, nice projects in which we included this competence perspective. And in Finland, in our primary school, in the guidelines for our primary school curriculum, we can now see that there is very much emphasis on transversal competencies. If we compare our competencies with the European Union or OECD, wherever we can see that there is a little different emphasis. Let's go into that. First, of course, we understand by transversal competencies that there is this knowledge aspect, skills, values, attitudes, and will to learn. And that means that in competence, if the pupil has acquired a competence, he or she should be able to apply this knowledge, skills, and values in a given situation outside school, outside school context. And the competence idea is very much focused on trying to avoid the boundaries of different disciplines, of different content areas. Sometimes if you interview subject teachers, you ask, what do you teach? I teach mathematics, I teach languages. And you already see, okay, you are not teaching the pupil, you are teaching the content. And that means that now we try to go to the child, start with a focus on the child, that what is happening in his or her cognition when he is trying to learn science. What is going to happen? What kind of conceptual understanding is taking place. And that means that we have to try to link these different aspects of, let's say, STEM. For example, on our project we have energy as a phenomenon, and we try to integrate their biology, physics, for example, what different perspectives on energy. And the child, of course, he or she is not interested about physics as such, but he or she should be interested in how to apply energy in everyday life or outside school context. That's the most important thing. We do have 7 transversal competencies in Finnish curriculum, and the first is the most important transversal competence, called thinking and learning to learn. If you have a possibility to have a look and read in our guidelines for curriculum, it is very interesting to see that this transversal competence, thinking and learning to learn, is included in all goals, in all content areas. Then very important is the second one, cultural competence, interaction and self-expression. That means that there is now sort of worries that our children are not anymore able to express themselves in their languages. They are not anymore able to interact. We learned today Mr. Rettig, that the point with so-called non-cognitive factors like emotions, empathy, is becoming more and more important. And also sort of to understand and respect other opinions of other people seems to be a very, very tricky thing in nowadays in the time of social media and so on, when the children are communicating also online, and it's very easy to put something without any brain functions. That's very important. And also, the whole literacy aspect is also coming very much to we can see it here, because it means that the cultural competence is of course in your first language, but also in other languages we need these cultural competences. Not only to communicate in English, but to sort of to how to explain your opinions, how to interact in culturally challenging situations. Then our third transversal competence is taking care of oneself and managing daily life. Taking care of oneself and managing daily life. I have to say I was shocked to see that in our curriculum in Finland. That we are now in this situation, that our families are not anymore doing this business. That our teachers in the schools have to support our children to learn to take care of themselves. That begins from the health issues, from the hygiene, from the whole diet, what to eat, what to not eat, and so on, to these other issues which are emphasized there. Then multiliteracy is our third competence, transversal competence. That means that it's very important, of course, to be able to read texts, different kind of texts, more and more online, which is a very, very tricky thing, to try to find information, valid information from different sources, try to combine these different opinions, different facts to one product. And all that should support learning. It's very, very tough even on the university level where we are working. That means that the multiliteracy deals also with understanding of pictures and visual representations, video materials, and so on. So we can't think that it's natural that we can go with this different mode of representations. It's not. We have to learn to deal with pictures like dealing with text. How we teach children to read. We have to, with text, we have to teach them how to read visuals. Seems to be very important. Then, of course, our transversal skill number one is ICT competence. That means that technology is just a tool how to work. We see it's a tool, but it doesn't work. And I can really see, because I'm also a teacher, I've been a teacher, that you can see that if a teacher is planning a lesson, you have also taken into account if internet is working or not. And that's not a very nice situation in pedagogically. I mean, if you have to be all the time stressed, if the different computers where more or less young people are working are functioning. And we see that there is a lot to do in cooperation with companies delivering instructional technology and materials. There's a huge gap now in the praxis and theory, how we get that. That's a huge thing. Then, our sixth competence number 6, transversal competence number 6, is working life competence and entrepreneurship. That means that we want to support self-regulation of our students on all levels, and also try to sort of inspire them to become, to be innovative. That doesn't mean that everybody has to be an entrepreneur one day, no. But to have sort of, to be free, to be innovative, to develop new ideas without boundaries. Because sometimes we are worried that our schools are very closed, that there is sort of the ideas which are accepted are already there, and there is no place to be creative, be innovative. And I think that's very important, and also has some consequences to our teacher education, how we teach our teachers so that they let the child be innovative, be creative, and so on without boundaries. Then the last one, perhaps the most important one, participation, involvement, and building a sustainable future. How we support our students during these 9 years to be active citizens, that they feel that they have not only rights, but they have responsibilities. That seems to be very, very difficult sometimes to find a balance. And that we try to support the ideas of sustainable development from the small ones to the older ones. And I was very happy to see, there was the little project today that were very, very nice, very practical, very important things learned in our Keycolab project. What does it mean to recycle things? What has this to do with the sustainable development and this? We have to start with very simple, very small things, but of course we hope to get one day there where there are no boundaries and perhaps no technologies, which we need now, actually, very much now, if we want to survive in our globe. Now I would like to go in more detail to the practical levels on our curriculum, in which we still have subjects. We don't, and we have contents. Sometimes there's misconception that the Finns don't have any subject or any contents anymore listed there in the curriculum. That's not true. We do have, but the emphasis is on phenomenon-based learning. Phenomenon-based learning is issue. But if we, for example, have a look about the objectives of competencies for grade 3 to 6, we can see, for example, if we take the learning to learn, which is very, very important, that there is, for example, emphasis on self-knowledge. It's very important that the school interactions are supporting self-knowledge of the child, self-respect, formation of personal identity, and in interaction with others and the surroundings. It's very much emphasized as the friendship and feeling of belonging to the community is very important in the early years. I was very happy to see that there is a program called KIVA, which is anti-bullying program, which is also here in Navarra. It has been developed by colleagues in psychology in University of Turku, in my university. And that's one example about the practical tools which can support teacher work in everyday school interaction, that you have the lenses of how are the social interactions taking place in the classroom, how are the students feeling, are they belonging to the group, or are they alone somewhere? Because the loneliness in the early years is a very, very bad predictor for the well-being in the later years. We have to take them seriously. Okay. And then if we think that we take, for example, the content, I want to sort of give some evidence that we do have contents and we do have subjects. If we take the example of Finnish language for 3rd and 6th grade, we can see that there is, for example, objectives for instruction like acting in interactive situation. That, for example, a child is able to act constructively in different communication environments. He can take other people's needs into consideration in group communication. And then we can see that there are sort of, besides these content areas, also the competencies are listed there. That, for example, it is acting constructively in different communication environments. We can see that there is T1, which is thinking and learning to learn skills, and then these everyday thing, sort of everyday aspects of competence, and then other that you can specifically as a teacher you can check if I try to teach these contents, I have to integrate, or I have the possibility to see that these competence areas are also developing. And then when we think about these competencies, these 7 competencies, one thing, if you have the possibility to come to our schools, is that they are visible in everyday life. That they are posters in the classrooms where you can see that these competencies are visible, and you can show for the child that, let's have a look. Now we have today very much learning on that. You can see that. Yeah. I hope that you are able to see the PowerPoint, but I'm anyway doing not so much on PowerPoints. Okay, and then if we see what is what is challenge and what we have observed in our Keycolab project, try now to take some examples, and we have tried to develop tools for evaluation or assessment. That means that if we are working on phenomenon-based way, that we have, let's say, phenomenon like energy, and it will take, let's say, 4 to 5 or 6 weeks. It's a long time, and that means that if we have the sort of the target that we want to evaluate what is going on in individual students when they are collaborating in small groups or pairs, that means that the teacher needs a lot of tools. And we have been trying to develop, for example, a portfolio idea in which it's quite easy to evaluate, for example, on individual level, how did I as a student support my group to learn? How did they support my learning? What did I actually learn in these 2 or 3 hours, 3 lessons? That the teachers needs a lot of feedback, a lot of data, what's going on. Because otherwise, I'm very worried about this big project, that children will have lots of fun, but what are they learning actually? Because we have this very, very tough conceptual knowledge target we need in order to survive in the future. It's not just fun or joy which brings up there where's our target. We want to know that there are no misconceptions about energy. We have been actually doing work on understanding of photosynthesis, and even our teacher students, some of them have severe misconceptions. What is photosynthesis? Some of them think that the plant takes everything from the soil, that the role of plant in the ecosystem is not there. But they can define photosynthesis. They have the chemical reactions, everything there, but they don't understand what does this to do with our ecosystem thinking. That means the teacher needs a lot of tools how to evaluate the process. And that means that the first step is of course to make a diagnosis. What is our student doing now before we start this huge project? If I don't know diagnose the starting the situation before the project, I don't have any evidence. And that means that you can actually now perhaps see my point that the teacher is more and more becoming like a doctor, a medical doctor, that you have to make a diagnosis. Then you have to think, what is these and these students, what do they need actually in order to achieve that? You give them assignments, let them do, then again assignments. You are trying to scaffold them from one level to the next one. And that means that the teacher's role is quite different. And that's very tough for us who have been trained in overtime. When I was a teacher and my students were sitting there, they're quiet, and that was this transmission model. And now it's the other way around. I'm one of those communities of learning communities. And that means that the whole system has to be in line with the targets. If the purpose is to emphasize self-regulation, learning to learn, and so on, I have to analyze, I have to assess and evaluate what is going on that aspect, on every topic. And that stuff, we need tools. And then, if we think about the findings, we were very happy to see that our teachers collaborate. When they do the evaluation, There got to be the other teacher in the classroom, but there is also very often special needs teacher who brings another aspect. Because our groups are very heterogeneous, because we are non-selective, that means that there must be different aspects of serving one child. And that means that the collaboration between teachers in evaluation worked quite well. And then, like I already said, that the whole process evaluation informed like the learning diaries is worked quite well. And then there seems to be, the teachers need some kind of rubrics. What are the aspects I want to observe? What are important to observe? Because otherwise, it's quite okay and nice and everything is well. No, it's too holistic. We want to have also criteria. And then we really observed again that the whole project has to be planned so that the students know what is going on, because it's a long project. And they don't, sometimes they lose the goals. That we, for example, make the very concrete timelines that now you are here, then you are here, and so on. That everybody is on board. And that's, of course, very hard. And that suggests a lot of communication from the teacher's side. And then our special needs children, of course, they need much more time. And we have been observing that we have in Turku, even suburbs where there are 30% with any kind of background, with Finnish as a second language. And sometimes in the groups, the roles were different. That person who was not so competent in language had a great competencies to search for knowledge and evaluate if it's true or not. But we can see that sometimes it's not good to have, let's say, immigrant children in one group and the other children in the other group. That the integration can make the different competencies already among young children visible. But it's tough, and you have to be very communicative with your children, that you know what they are learning and how they feel, because the feelings, like we know, emotions are very, very important. Promoters of learning. But one of the most important things really teachers scaffolding competences. And that means this project which takes a long time needs a lot of scaffolding. That means that you have to be active, you have to go from one group to another and see what's happening there and there. And that means that the planning of these lessons is quite challenging. If you go to the classroom, like we were yesterday visiting a very nice school, we found or observed very nice activities. Somebody can think, okay, it's quite easy, the teacher is just standing there. But if we know the whole practice that suggests a lot of work is small children are really learning in small groups and actively constructing knowledge. It's a tough work. I appreciate your work very much in everyday business. And then, what is this online inquiry? That seems to be this competence, digital ICT skills competence, very, very challenging. And one of the most tricky things seems to be to find really valid information from different sources in online, not only in Wikipedia, but really try to find knowledge which is valid, try to combine it and try to understand it, and then write the synthesis. Write the synthesis based on different sources. It's a very, very challenging task. Also, of course, researchers, when we are working with sources, we know it's not easy. And we actually now require that more children would need this as well. Now I'm coming to the conclusions of these competencies framed or inspired by the Finnish case. And I was actually thinking that one of the red lines or paths is that we have to rethink teacher's role. What is teacher's role? And that means that teacher is facilitating, co-constructing, to some extent, co-constructing knowledge. And that means that he or she has to be very, very competent in thinking skills. He has to be very, very flexible if we work on phenomenon-based things. flexible from coming from biology, going to physics, and have this very high conceptual understanding. And that's a very big challenge in our classroom teacher training, in which our teachers teach 12 different subjects. It's a very hard. Subject teachers have it much easier because they have only mostly 2 or 3, normally two subjects they teach. Well, our classroom teachers are teaching 12 different subjects, and that's very tough. That means that they need support. Our teachers need in-service training like you have now here, systematic in-service training. I think it's not enough that you meet once a year, something like that. You need projects like Keycolab was. You need really research-based inspiration. That means that more or less I think that teachers are teaching, but they should some way perhaps think that they are like researchers, that they observe, they diagnose their students, and then they find solutions. We hope also that you have possibilities to read news literature on learning and teaching, and get some ideas, or do some e-training or forum where you are finding best practices. That means that teachers need lots of support, also after the pre-service teacher training. And then there's a huge need for learning materials. Learning materials is very important because it's always have a pedagogy, it supports the actual pedagogy or hinders. Sometimes it hinders, it doesn't fit to my ideology, and it's then bad. We need new material, new concepts of material which support phenomenon-based learning and also gives teachers ideas and conceptual understanding. Like I was saying, that classroom teachers have a huge need for update their understanding about many things after pre-service training. Learning material. And then the whole idea of learning environment has to be rethought, revised. Very much in the Finnish curriculum emphasizes very much that learning environments are not only classrooms, that our target is to support knowledge acquisition and conceptual understanding of our young and older pupils who can apply this knowledge outside school environments. And of course it would be wonderful if we could make use of museums, forests, and whatever there are outside school environment. But of course the reality is sometimes very hard. We don't have any time to do this big project. But I think we have to start with small things, and then step by step we can proceed. But one actually most important thing is that we have to take the parents on board. Parents are the most important partners in our work as teachers in schools. That means that in Finnish educational system we talk that, even on the law, that there is an educational partnership between parents and schools, that we educate together our children. And that's the sort of the message, one of the most messages. And we have to take them on board when we plan this long project with competences and so on. I think I stop here now. We have a discussion.
Me preguntan.
No problem. It's international.
It's a national problem.
Son muy competentes en la comunicación, sin duda alguna, sin apoyo. Thank you very much for your work. And pues con eso terminamos nuestra exposición inicial. Bueno, pues hoy, cuando ya hemos terminado la conferencia y a su vez terminamos el proyecto Keycolab, que ha sido un proyecto de 2 años de duración, financiado por el programa de Erasmus Plus de la Unión Europea, como ya hemos comentado. Me gustaría repetir que los resultados obtenidos, que ha comentado Miguel, del programa de formación, las herramientas de evaluación de competencias y el estudio de casos, de cómo se están trabajando las competencias de distintos países de la Unión Europea, se encuentran tanto en la web del proyecto, www.keycolab.eu, como en el grupo de grupo Keycolab, ¿vale? Por eso se ve ahí todo. Además, vamos a subir en los próximos días las presentaciones que se han hecho hoy y las grabaciones. No hemos podido estar en las 3 conferencias que se han hecho simultáneas de los 3 países, pero van a estar disponibles tanto en la web como en el grupo de Finland. Y nada, pues sin más, para terminar, agradecer a todos los participantes, a todos los ponentes, a los alumnos que han participado montándonos sus proyectos y a todos los alumnos que han participado también con el musical. Bueno, thank you very much.
Because I think teachers are working so hard that you have to remember that if teachers are doing well, if they feel well, then the children are doing well. And that's well-being is also very, very important. Please take care and have a nice day.